Hi, Rich Karuba. I would like to speak to you about why you need a bowling ball for spares. And I want to approach it maybe a little differently than we've heard or we've read other articles, or maybe you've listened to other videos. But one of the most important things to realize is today everyone is infatuated with the high performance strike ball. A bowling ball that's very aggressive, that'll work on the heavy oil conditions, that'll get traction on the lane. You can create a wider angle down the lane to the break point and see a more sweeping hook, so you get a more pronounced angle of entry into the pins, better pin carry. Everyone wants high scores. But what happens when you leave corner pin spares, as example, the 7 or 10 pin spares? These balls that are high performance, when you start changing your angle from your strike ball delivery, you might have a little difficulty getting the same smooth motion into the spare as you do to the pocket. What you want to avoid is unpredictable motion. And these balls can be very aggressive, particularly going for the corner pin spares, because the back end of the lane is completely dry. And if you're a right-handed bowler going for a 10 pin, you got to throw it out dangerously close to the edge of the lane. It might fall into the channel, or it might hook back so dramatically you miss the 10 pin, but because the ball hooks too far away from the spare. So one of the things that's important is to understand that bowling can be, you can look like it, if you compare it to, say, basketball or football. Basketball and football players are only limited by time in the opposing team, of course, and to make as many points as possible within a 60-minute game time. In bowling, we're not limited by time, but we're limited by frames. So our goal is to not make as many shots toward the hoop or passes into an insole as possible, but rather make as few shots as possible. That is, by getting more strikes. So 12 deliveries for strikes constitutes a perfect game, but unfortunately it's easier said than done, so we're going to leave some spares to convert. And we can't always strike on every first delivery, so let's rely on our second delivery, our spare shot. And that's where, to get scores, a spare ball comes in handy. In addition to the single pin spare scenario we talked about earlier, many split combinations, for example, are easier to shoot with a ball that doesn't hook so dramatically, doesn't hook unpredictably. A good example for right-handed bowlers would be the 3-10, the baby split as we call it. It's especially difficult for right-handed bowlers because it's close to the edge of the lane. It doesn't allow enough room for hooking balls to track consistently. But a ball that has a modest hook to it, like a spare ball would, you have a better chance of making the shot following a straighter path toward the pins, slightly toward the 3 pins, right-hand side, for example. And this will result in a deflection toward the 10 pin. The ball will deflect into it and convert the spare, instead of the ball hooking when it hits the pin and driving and hooking away from the 10 pin. So you're going to increase your odds of picking up spares like that and picking up common, easy to make spares by the ball not hooking so sharply and dramatically if you get a spare ball. And the great thing about buying a spare ball, it's typically a plastic or polyester cover stock composition. And there's still a wide variety of products you can choose from to get a look of a spare ball that you want. So as many of them are a great way to personalize your style and your attitude towards spare shooting. So if you want to maximize your score, become a better spare shooter. Don't forget to make deposits in your spare bank. I think I'll write an article about that soon. Look into purchasing yourself a spare ball. It can also work on dry lanes. It can also help give you a better consistent motion down the lane at difficult spares and splits, and it's going to improve your bowling scores. I hope this information helps. Thank you.